Hi, I'm here with Diijon DaCosta, Senior. He's the Board Vice Chair for DeKalb County Schools in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Hi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Glad you're here.
So you talked about community involvement with My Brother's Keeper. Can you tell us some more about that? How is that impacting your students? Is it improving? Are you seeing?
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the firsthand experience that I had as a DeKalb County graduate.
Let's do that.
And why I think it's effective, right?
Okay.
So the reason why I ran for Board of Education was because of programs like that, that wrapped around community support and dominant male figures to step in my educational experiences when I needed it at the right time.
Okay.
Single parent, raising 7 kids. At the age of 27, my mom, and 6 of them are boys. So imagine how that household went, right?
Oh man.
Right? So mom had to play, a dominant role. Mom had to go to work and do everything, on her own. So the program wasn't called My Brother's Keeper at the time. It was called the Winning Circle. Okay. Right? And it was a program that mentally got us prepared and geared for the real world, college, or whatever endeavors that we needed to do in life. Okay. Right? So as a school board member, I felt that we went away from programs that really directly impact our scholars. Now, we're putting a story together. We're kind of marinating it together, right?
I see it.
All right, cool.
Yes.
So, one of my philosophies is, once you change your mindset, everything else around you changes. Now, the most impact that we're dealing with our scholars is what? Social media. Okay. Right? Yep. We're geared onto social media. TikTok is pretty much raising our kids. Yep. The minds are actually going astray. Okay. We have to be able to bring that back in order to promote a healthier student, scholar, and education. Okay. With the My Brother's Keeper program, it dismantled the school to prison pipeline. Okay. It also promotes school attendance, academics, and decreasing discipline. That's what the program actually focuses on. Okay. It brings a different variety of scholars together, treating it as a fraternity base, right? Or fraternity or sorority, because we do have our sister keeper, and allowing them to cultivate and to build this relationship amongst peers, and allow those scholars to lead amongst each other. Okay. So.
Yeah. Let's talk about equity during COVID. Have you been having a harder time to meet the needs of the students now since they, I'm not sure what they are doing in your district, but virtual learning to now being back in school, was it harder?
Well, thank you for that question. So we all know that the COVID-19 has disproportionately affected children of color and low economical statuses as well. And that's through the virus and also through technology and connectivity, right? It has been a challenge with our district, but back in 2015, I believe, the district was already promoting connectivities, 21st century connectivities by providing those subgroups or demographics, the Wi-Fi's and the Chromebooks.
Okay, so you had one-on-one.
We had the one-on-one,
okay,
but all we had to do was to get the funding that the CARES Act helped us out on to ensure that all children and employees and have access to that device. So when you think about equity with this COVID-19, you have to you have to think math as well. Right? You have to think about the math as a board member, because we want things to be cost efficient to the district, but it has to be equitably distributed throughout the district. Right. And with that, you come to come up with different challenges that parents that you have not reached out to are dealing with. For instance, in my community, you have a single mom working 3 or 4 jobs, right? Who's going to watch this child doing virtual learning? How are we going to ensure that this particular child is getting what they came to public school for, right? Education to be a successful student or productive citizen to society. So what DeKalb County School did was they organized a COVID-19 task force that goes out and reach out to every single, demographic school, reaching them on their level to get these inputs, bringing it back to the board, providing that funding, and pushing it back out so that it can directly impact our scholars that are going through those issues.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like you're doing the work.
The district is doing the work. We're just, putting the money allocation portions where the vision of the superintendent and the staff is actually doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about community relationships and the parent involvement. How big are your parents involved? Are you seeing a high number that just comes and picks up and drops off their kid? Because some people are in the mindset that school stays at school and then you come home and stops there, but you need to be constantly involved with your children's education at home and at school. So what are you seeing in your district?
Well, in our district and also nationally, it's always been a parental involvement, crisis. One of the goals is to honestly bridge that gap between the community homes and the schools. But since we know that there has been challenges throughout the years, the school district's task is to figure out the hows, right? Because like I stated before, how are you going to reach this mom to come to parent-teachers conference that works 2 or 3 jobs in a single parent household, right? So what the school district has done was, we've just allocated funds for, matter of fact, they received a grant for it's a bus that goes out to the communities, right? And during the time of when these parents actually comes off of work, to provide them with this educational experiences and what is going on in their child's life, right? Also, we provided the apps that help parents at any time monitor the students' progress, their attendance, their grades, and really trying to bring the parent in one by one, right? The challenge is when we lose that area, what do we do next?
Right.
How does parents get more engaged with education? What the DeKalb County School District did was they provided a GED program for parents that are in the district. Before I became an educator, I have a 15-year-old daughter, right? Going into a schoolhouse was the most intimidating parts of being a parent. Why? It's because the conversations are different, right? Acronyms, big words, things that doesn't really make sense. And I'm just focused on why my child ain't learning. Right?
All right.
What the superintendent had to do was to go back down to have conversations with her staff, and we have to start meeting people where they are.
Right.
We can't talk to them the same way that we're having this conversation. We have to come to them where, they can better understand and articulate the conversation to bring them back into the schools. It's going to be an ongoing process. It is, but it's a lot of work to get done.
Okay, I hope you guys have success with that because you're going past the level of doing, survey and just emailing it out or putting it on Facebook. So that's interesting to see. Can you tell the folks where they can find you or how they can contact you? Based off of what we talked about.
So I am a millennial. So I do use the Twitters, Instagram, and Facebook. So it's all DaCosta.DeKalb. DaCosta spelled DACOSTA .DeKalb.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. DaCosta, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.